Representative Walsh.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good to see you on this Palm Sunday. It is true that intent sections in legislation are not always very significant to how courts will read legislation or people will follow legislation. But there is a reason that in this case, this intent section is important to add and is important for us to consider. Madam Speaker, as the prime sponsor of this bill mentioned in House committee testimony, this bill traces back to a precedent in an Alabama state statute. And Madam Speaker, that's true, it does, an old Alabama law that was put into effect during the Jim Crow period. It's troubling to me, Madam Speaker, that this bill traces its DNA back to the Jim Crow South, and a piece of legislation that was, frankly, as most legal scholars agree, was designed to prevent Black people from owning firearms and carrying them. It's troubling to me, Madam Speaker, that this piece of legislation traces its origins back to that. And for that reason, because that kind of law is so reprehensible and we all find it objectionable, I think it is important in this case to clarify what our intent is in this underlying bill. We need to do it, Madam Speaker, because of the unseemly origins and DNA of this bill. Please vote yes to the intent section. Thank you, Madam Speaker. This is a bad bill, and its problems go way beyond its foundations in the racism of the Jim Crow South. This is a bad bill because it's unconstitutional, Madam Speaker. It tries, and in my opinion fails, to equate subjective feelings of intimidation with foundational rights expressly articulated in our nation and states' constitutions that every individual has to protect himself or herself, their families, and their property. There is no equality in this matter, Madam Speaker. Subjective feelings and emotions do not equal foundational rights. You know, people have asked me, Madam Speaker, why is it and how is it and by what means do I believe that defending the long-held constitutional right and state tradition in Washington of allowing open carry, how do I believe that protecting this will prevent violence and crime in our state? Well, here's how, Madam Speaker. If we undermine the foundational rights that you have to protect yourself, your person, and your property, if we erode and restrict those rights, we embolden bad actors. We embolden violent sexual predators. Just a few days ago, Madam Speaker, you may have read in the news, a particularly nasty violent predator broke loose, and restrictions and ankle bracelets and other means of measure, and went on a rampage kind of around the Yelm area. Ultimately, a young law enforcement officer was called in, and this criminal stabbed the sheriff's deputy before the deputy was able to shoot and subdue the criminal. Now, how does this happen, Madam Speaker? How do we get to a place in our society where a violent bad actor like that feels emboldened to try to terrorize citizens and attack law enforcement officers? How do we get there, Madam Speaker? We get there by trying to draw equivalence between feelings of intimidation and foundational rights to self-protection. We cannot square that circle, Madam Speaker. We cannot create a symmetry or a parity between those public interests when they don't exist. We don't need to make our family members, our children, soft targets, Madam Speaker. And that's what this bill, this poorly written, badly constructed bill would do. And I don't even think the bill realizes it, Madam Speaker. You know, our state constitution, Article 1, Section 24, says that the right of the individual citizen to defend himself, to bear arms in defense of himself or the state, shall not be impaired. And legal scholars talk about how shall not be impaired is an even higher standard than the federal constitution's shall not be infringed. But the state constitution states plainly, and this is important, Madam Speaker, that individual citizen's right to bear arms in defense of himself or the state shall not be impaired. And behind those words, Madam Speaker, is this idea that when we defend ourselves, we defend each other, we defend the state, we defend the common good. In economics, it's called an externality. You can call it many things. But I think of it like this, Madam Speaker. When a young mother open carries with a pistol on her hip, because that makes her more secure and safer, it makes her children more secure and safer. They can go about their lives with the feeling of security, the security that our Constitution anticipated in granting that mother the right to open carry. Then that mother is doing more than just protecting herself and her kids. She's protecting all of us, Madam Speaker. She's protecting all of us by creating a society, a culture where we are not timid. We are not afraid of violent predators and psychopaths and bad actors, where we are confident that we can protect ourselves and defend ourselves. And Madam Speaker, for some, to open carry is an expression of that foundational constitutional right. And that's where we've spoken before, Madam Speaker, that this badly written bill mucks up not only the constitutional and foundational right to protect yourself with a firearm or other weapon, but with your foundational right to express what you believe in, including to express the right to defend yourself. Now, this is not a small matter. This is not a technical issue. And I take some disagreement with the gentleman from the 23rd who believes that our existing laws to prevent the carriage of firearms in courtrooms is to prevent intimidation. That may be part of it, but the real reason there is to prevent physical harm. And we can have that discussion. But this bill, in its poor execution and sloppy writing, spreads loosely around the state a prohibited zone, or 100 of them, 1,000 of them, that restrict foundational rights, that prevent that young mother from protecting herself and her kids, and prevent her from protecting all of us in doing that. This is not a small matter, Madam Speaker. This is a profound matter. We are meddling with the foundational values of this state and this nation in considering badly written bills like this. We need to put this bill down, Madam Speaker. We need to put this bill down, and if activists want to muck with the Constitution, they need to do it the right way, by constitutional amendment. This bad
The members should not assign motives to those who are behind the bill. Please confine your remarks to the policy before us. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's a terrible, terrible policy. We need to protect our foundational rights, Madam Speaker. This badly written bill erodes them. It erodes the security that each individual Washingtonian can have and the security that each individual Washingtonian can share with all of us. Let's not meddle with our constitutional rights, Madam Speaker. Let's not meddle with our foundational rights. We're not a nation or a state begun by timid people, Madam Speaker. Let's let people protect themselves. Let them speak freely. Let them be free and independent citizens. That's what makes Washington great. Let's defend that greatness, Madam Speaker. Vote no on this badly drawn bill. Thank you.
The Speaker is about to start the roll call machine. The Speaker has started the roll call machine. Has every member voted? Representative Fitzgibbon, Representative Kraft, Representative Kretz, Representative Walsh. Representative Walsh, would you like to vote orally, Representative Walsh?
I refuse to vote on this bill, Madam Speaker. It's unconstitutional.
Representative Walsh votes no. Does any member wish to change their vote? The Speaker is about to lock the roll call machine. The Speaker has locked the roll call machine. Will the clerk please take the record?
Madam Speaker, there are 57 yeas, 40 nays, 1 excused.
Having received a constitutional majority, engrossed substitute Senate Bill 5038 as amended by the House is declared passed.